So today we have the incredible Stacy Dillard, a powerhouse saxophonist making waves in the jazz world for many decades. After studying at Central State University, a chance encounter with Wynton Marsalis led him to New York City, where he quickly became an in-demand player. With 4 albums as a leader, over 50 as a sideman, and 5 as a co-leader, he's worked with some of the greats, including Cyrus Chestnut, Eric Revis, Wycliffe Gordon, among many others. His sound is soulful, powerful, and unmistakably his own. So just get ready to dive into his journey with me. So, Stacy, my friend, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
So,
Yes, indeed.
has the jazz scene come back since COVID? I mean, you've been on in the city for a long time, but is it back to where it was before, you think?
Uh, it's it's not about being back to where it was before because because COVID had an effect on like everything. So everything is affected, which trickles down to what happens, in our scene in terms of the spirit of the participation and all that stuff and people being out and working again. Yeah, it has. But But I don't know if you can recall the times when like a jam session would start at 4:30 a.m. You know, I mean, for the better, that's gone because when you look back at it, you say like, wow, I was doing that, I was putting that kind of toil on my body. But everything is getting earlier, so it's like 10 o'clock is the new midnight. Midnight is the new 3 a.m. It's turning into that. So in that respect, it's changing.
Yeah, the earliest for
Um,
me was around 2 a.m., but I didn't even, so jam sessions used to start until at 4:30.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, like that's probably when it ended, but no doubt, yeah, at 4:30.
Yeah, I mean,
No
things have
doubt.
certainly changed. And Stacy, I mean, there's so much information on you. Like, we don't need to talk about, how you started learning the saxophone. All those interviews are out there already. I definitely want to talk to you about, some more, some recent thoughts and ideas you've had. What are you? I know that I've heard you say before the best learning experiences was when you just listen to other people play at sessions just by listening. That's the greatest lesson of all, right?
Yeah, listening and knowing what to listen for and being open to listening. Like, because that's an easy term to just throw out there, but listening is deep. The practice of it. So you also got to practice it.
So when you say listening, you're talking about, the ideas, the solo development, listening for their own sound. You mean things like that?
Everything, everything about everything. The interactions between, other people in the scene. You just watching everything. You watching the attitude, the climate. You're looking at like how do they work together? You know, you
Yeah, well,
listen to the particular person who's playing. You listen to how he plays with other people. You listen to how he or she plays just, individually. And because it's a lot of times when I'm playing and I'll feel like I got something under my belt. But then here I come to a situation where I'm fumbling on something. And it's this aspect that I can't put my finger on, whenever that is. But then when I'm there, somebody else will do that. And I'm like, okay, let me check this out right quick. Like those situations is where it's really helpful. Like when you really know what it is you're looking for, as opposed to just listening in general too.
well,
Because
the way
that's
the way
that's
I've
where
always
that's where it starts.
I'm kind of curious about this because the way I've always looked at it is when I listen to somebody else, is almost like when you meditate, you watch your breath, that sort of thing. You have to be fully present and let whatever is happening just almost take over. Is it
Hmm.
similar to that in a sense, you think?
Well, it's all like that because you have to let go and let it be because you're listening. You can't, it's like if you're critiquing a movie, you gotta watch the whole thing before you can critique anything. So you have to listen. and listening is being there. So
You know, you're someone I've always looked up to in your career. I'm not sure if you remember the time. I think this has got to be like probably when I first started playing in New York, and I stopped you on the street and I showed you I had some of your records on my phone. And you saw your picture and the album cover. Does that stuff like that, still happen to you today?
every now and again, and it's flattering, man. It's super flattering, but it does happen. It it happened just the other day on the train, actually,
That's awesome.
about a week ago.
And, and do you get asked to do these type of things, these interviews and podcasts, like, as much as, I would think someone of your stature who's been around for decades, these opportunities are coming in like at least once a week, almost, if I had to guess.
Not that often. You know, often enough, I would say. I really don't know how to gauge, but and I'm not expecting X amount of traffic.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, I'm just rolling with it. But it's not once a week.
well, I mean, let's just say this. I mean, you're someone who is, I mean, I can't say enough great things about. I'm not trying to kiss your ass, but genuinely, uh, that's why it was when you said you wanted to have the interview. I'm like, all right, let's do it on Monday. So I kind of adjusted my schedule. So you're definitely looked at as someone to. You're a little older now. I mean, do you hear young sax players who you really say this person has got something unique, or is it far and few between?
It's a little handful of people that's coming along, it's hard to. I got to remember that I'm older, you know, because when I get in the mix, I'm just like me, this cat, me, this cat. Okay, let's
You're
chop
what are
it
you?
up. Let's chop it up.
You're in your
But
mid 40s, right? Something like that, late 40s.
yeah, I'm going on 48, man.
Okay, got it.
47 right now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, not too long.
Uh,
We've got a long time, to play.
hey, well, I know what you mean. But yeah, there are some. It's a different time now. So, you know, the way we hang out, the people you got the opportunity to link up with just by showing up somewhere, you know, it's it's less of that, but it's not stopping, the new cast from coming out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Which is
mean,
good.
I'm going to backtrack to the first time I heard you play, which is probably like almost like 2007. So that's almost 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. And
Yes.
then I'm looking back then, and then fast forward another 10 years, to like let's say 2017. I'm like, you're doing your thing. I mean, you've always seemed to be just you get the chance to play at some of the best places. Um, in terms of where your career is at now, are there
Hmm.
still things that you're longing for that you would have hoped came to fruition by now? Like that maybe you think this is just, or or this is just what it is. I kind of know where I'm going at this point. You know what I mean? Like, are there still things you're longing
Yes.
for? I guess what I'm asking.
Um, I I can honestly say no, but that doesn't mean that that's a lack of involvement or a lack of drive or a lack of whatever. It's just that, over time, my understanding has changed, over time, and with that has brought, you know, looking at certain things a different way, accepting a certain reality, and this, that, and the other. So I'm cool with it. I've done enough to know like what this is and what this could be. Is there more to do? Of course. Of course. Of course. Am I gonna go for it? Of course.
Hmm.
Of course. But like if it doesn't happen at this point, it's not gonna stop me from playing.
Yeah, you just have to keep
So
pushing.
but it's not like, oh, it's the end of the world because no, the music is still here. So and
Are
that's
there certain
it.
Well, are there certain aspects about the industry that are completely corrupt? I'm talking about the higher ups, and the elites who are very in how do you say this? We need more inclusivity. Like we need to be more inclusive.
Hmm. Hmm. Higher ups. Yeah.
The higher ups, I like to say.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you see what it is, you can't unsee it. It will change your level of excitement.
I mean, I mean, there's a lot of things about it that are pretty corrupt. It's like the
It will
government.
change your level of excitement, about having to jump through those hoops.
I've been having some thoughts recently, just been meditating on them. And out of all the people I want to ask you about some of these things that I've been thinking about, that whole inclusivity thing
Excuse me.
it's almost as if it's more about preservation over progress when this music came from pushing boundaries and you know what I mean? Like it's more about
Hmm.
preservation over progress instead of moving forward.
Hmm.
Is there part of that you think?
Uh, that's a big problem in it because, you know, it's like they're leaving out the part that tradition is very well a part of. I mean, innovation is very well a part of tradition.
Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
know,
saying.
they leaving that out, and they're trying to leave it out,
And
and
jazz was born from
it's
rebellion.
very obvious.
Yeah. And not everybody at the top though. I'm saying, some of these are the
Right.
outdated hierarchies, I like to call it.
Hmm. We generally know who, what, so we'll leave it there.
Yeah. And if they don't open doors, it's time for us to build our own house, which is what you're saying. You're still going to keep going for it.
Yep, 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 yep.
Why do you think
Exactly.
why do you think the higher ups resist the change? I don't think it's all about money, to be honest with you. I think it's about like feeling like we're part of something special. I don't know. But why do you think they resist that change, those people?
Control.
They love control.
Control. I mean, like how many examples do you need? And then when you look at the cry for change, the cry for change, but look at any change that's actually happened, you know. So it's way too many things. But I'm not here to cry about that,
I'm
you
not saying
know,
that. I just want your
even
opinion.
though
I know you're not crying
even
about
though it's you know but that is the truth of the matter. You know what I mean?
it.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like I mean, you have to, we idolize the musicians of the past, but jazz needs to move
Hmm.
forward. We
Hmm.
look up to those people always. Those are the heroes and who started it. And
Hmm.
they are like, but we need to move forward.
Yeah, the once once the music was being cultivated, they didn't have the outside arms reaching in, you know, grasping it. They didn't have the business grabbing it. They didn't have the academic side grabbing it. It was able to be what it was, you know. And
Yeah,
then
I
and
mean,
then when
well,
it was documented, it was documented as what it was. Because, you know, think about like all those great albums that we listened to from back in the day and how fresh they sound right now.
always.
Now you can listen to an album from 2011 and it's like it got dust on it, you know?
It's got
Like
what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
dust on it. They got like a bunch of dust on it. It's like oh it's it got an old Burger King cup sitting on it.
Exactly.
You know, that joint chilling. And it's like why is that? And it could be something that was very hot at that time,
Yeah,
but
well, they
it's just
created the music too. They invented it, in that time.
hmm yeah. But my point is they were able to do it the way they had it in mind to do. They didn't have somebody coming in saying, "Hey, can you make this short?" can you make this radio friendly? Can you make this? Can you play this to appeal to this? Can you do this? Da, 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 da. It's like, man, what about my vision? You're getting in the way. You know, it's you, telling people to, hey, don't be so convicted. Be more convicted. You can't. You know, that's like telling me at 3 o'clock. You know, you got to drop a deuce at 3 o'clock. Okay, so be ready. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like that's against me. And that's, and that kind of involvement, you got people thinking about so much more than the music, that like when they get in the studio, they gotta think about these things instead of just letting go, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, that's just what I think.
No, I agree with you.
And that's just what I think.
Do you think that I think, well, do you think that we have the power ultimately as the musicians, though? We reach the people directly, the audience, as opposed to the other side of that. Or do we need a
Um,
boost? We need a boost too, you
th
know?
there is high possibility of that, but the world of musicians is as diverse as the world itself. So it's always going to be some opposition somewhere when it comes to, I'm not trying to be a pessimist. I'm just trying to be realistic here. But there, where there are people losing, there's somebody winning, and they don't want that change. So
Yeah.
there's going to be a butt of heads,
Yeah. I
you
also
know.
think, yeah, and you mentioned the schooling before, but I think I heard you talk about school because, it seems to me jazz education is almost sometimes I think a bit like unrealistic because it's only they teach you how to play, but then you go into the real world and the jazz musicians don't have any entrepreneurial skills as well, which is also part of the problem. Like the musicians get told, "I'll just go to jazz school," and then that's it. That's part of the problem too.
Yeah, and well, it's like the good side is like you go to a place. Let's say you go to university in South Dakota, you know, like outside of class, like where's the real hang,
Hmm.
you know, for a place like that. But the good thing is that they can still introduce you to it in the college. That's the good thing about it. And you know, I don't I don't know if I could say it's their job to, basically what you have to do is teach you how to be you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's not the university's job, so to speak. You know, it's their job to show you about the music. Yeah, 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 yeah. But when you step out into the world and you're at a jam session, you gotta, this is where listening comes in. You gotta listen to the crowd and see what that's like. You gotta listen to the atmosphere to see what the energy is like, so you know how to move. You know what to play instead of putting together like a college formulated set list. Like, okay, time for a ballad, time for something fast, time for this. No, don't do that. Watch the crowd. Feel the room. The
You can
room will
only
tell
gain
you.
experience pacing a set from actually, failing at it.
Yes, yes, yes. And but this is where you try it. Instead of constantly bringing in that preconceived set already, which is a lot of people do. It's like, it's like you go into a singles event, right? To meet some ladies or something, but you've been practicing in the mirror exactly what you're going to say. That's not going to work when you get to the club. When you practice everything that you're going to say, what about when you have to respond to what they say to you? Like, then what?
Yeah.
So it's like that. It's like just just learn how to be natural with it.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember like going, growing up a pretty sheltered kid and then going to music college and then first time going into any clubs in New York City, it was like, what the fuck is this? I
Yeah,
was like, this is
I
crazy. this is crazy. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this before. Like the first time I ever went into Fat Cat, it was, I was like, I'm in another world right now. After, and I traveled as a kid and stuff, but you know what I mean? I was like, this is nuts.
I remember I remember the rush, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember it every time. But I was you know, I was like 25 when I got to the city, you know, as opposed to seeing like 18, 19-year olds. And I had been through some things already. So, so it was easier for me to kind of grasp, but that excitement, that rush, that, oh, am I ready for this? That whole, oh yeah, it happened.
And you're never
It,
ready.
ha- you say it again?
You're never ready when you first, until you.
Oh no, I wasn't ready because, I never visited before I moved here. I just moved. And that was 2 weeks before I actually did when I made a decision.
Um,
So
I
it
also
was a
wanted to
big jump.
talk to you, I really want to touch on this with you as well. Um, do you are you able to just perform jazz as far, for your income, or, or I mean, do you still have to do other types of styles to, to make a living? I'm just kind of curious about that. If you want to answer that, a musician would love to know that.
Um, well, see, the thing is, I like all styles anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like
Mhm.
I came into the game. Uh, I mean, jazz was last for real.
Same.
You know, but as far as myself, I think it's possible because I that's primarily what I get.
Yeah.
It's not that often when I'm doing like other things, but it happens often enough, and you know, much appreciated also. But as far as just the jazz stuff, because that's how you get labeled sometimes, and that's fine,
You mean labeled as just like a.
jazz jazz musician, like that's it, you know. But I'll drop a smooth album on you in a heartbeat.
So do you think we need to just be calling ourselves musicians or jazz musicians?
Well, if we're playing jazz, then like whatever it is you're doing, that's what you are.
Okay.
You know, that's but on top of everything, artist, music, individual, well, because I like everything enough to not just be one thing, even though that's probably one thing that people mostly hear me do.
What we mean mostly, play as a leader? Is that what you mean? Like,
Jazz, just
okay.
mostly hear me play jazz.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about, I want to talk to you a little bit about the soprano.
Hmm. Yeah.
Why is it that there are so few and far between, and a lot of saxophonists are avoiding this instrument? Is it because John Coltrane set the bar so high? Is it that it's a difficult instrument to play? Like, I would love to know your perspective on it.
Nope. Just because people don't give it the same hours as they give their alto or their tenor. You just got to give it that time. It's 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 a muscle memory thing. That's all it is. Because the majority of like even the soprano players I love will tell me like, man, I hate playing this instrument. And I'm like, really? Like, really? Okay. Because what happens is, another instrumentalist, composer writes a song. I want you to play soprano on it. Okay. So pull it off of one or two tracks, you know, and the rest is tenor. But the fact that all the fingering and stuff is the same, you ain't got to work that out. But the embouchure is where the difference is. And people just got to spend more time with it in order to make it sound like something as opposed to that same nasally, because that's what it is. It's just time
Did you
because
start
it's a
playing the
different
soprano, when you were
before
learning tenor originally?
before before tenor.
Oh,
Yeah, I started with alto. and then I went strictly soprano, and then added tenor into the mix.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, because soprano is the one that made me say, "Oh, alto." I was highly interested. Soprano, I fell in love. That's
Yeah.
how it worked out. Like, as soon as I touched it, I sound like shit, but I knew. I took a look at the horns, like, damn, this is. I might be. I'm gonna do something special with this. You
Are
know, I'm in high school talking about this.
are you teaching it all now these days, or just just playing directly?
Yeah, teaching both private and adjunct. You know, up at Bard College, I do a little adjunct at New School, and just like I said, mostly private stuff, and do a little master class here and there at NYU or Princeton or something like that. But
When you do the master classes at like NYU or something, uh,
hmm
is that just you by yourself, or is that with with another with other musicians?
it's it's either me by myself. It's a combination. Sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's a band. You know, I might just be a part of it, and then, but my participation, I'm gonna ask a lot of questions, and it'll be more like a natural setting. It almost feels like a gig,
Right.
like the way the class was constructed. So in a lot of cases, but when it's just me, uh, sometimes it's just like a formatted where it just goes loose and free, or students have questions prepared already.
Would you be open if if a university offered you a position to be a full-time professor, just basically, what do they, get what to do that tenure or, benefits? Is that something you think you would ever be interested in doing if it was offered to you, or you're just, you don't want to go down that road?
I would do it because I'm actually falling more and more in love with teaching. Was funny because I didn't I didn't think I could be a good teacher, but some things happened along the way where I even felt like man, maybe I can be. And then with the reinforcement from certain students and what they had to say and the progress that they were able to make kind of led me to believe that maybe you can do this. So, I'm drawn more to it. So I am open to that.
So you're enjoying it more now than ever, it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
And are you still enjoying playing with as much as you have?
Oh yeah. Of course. It
Uh,
never it's always something to learn.
when's your next gig coming up?
I'll be at Dizzy's playing with Melanie Schultz on I think it's Wednesday. I don't have the calendar. Oh, that's the 26th to 27th. I will be there on the 27th at Dizzy's with Melanie Schultz. I think Donis Rose is going to be playing too. It's going to be nice.
Do you like playing at Disney? Is that one of your, preferred venues, stages in the city?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been playing at Dizzy since they opened the doors. But it's always been a cool place.
What's your
A
favorite place
lot
to
of
play? I know you're going to say
it's
you
a
like them all,
toss
but there's
up.
got to be like a couple or one or two.
It's I love playing in the Vanguard. I love playing at Smalls. I love being at Smalls. Uh Zinc Bar, especially when it was on LaGuardia and West Broadway. Um that oof,
Oh,
those are
the
good times.
original one, the original Zinc Bar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean the new one, I like this one too. It's sweet too. But that one was, that was special. The old location of the Jazz Gallery, I like that. I like the new one too. But those we go there.
Yeah,
That's
the
about it.
names could just keep going on because you like them all, which is. I
I
mean,
kind of do. They all got their own flavor.
Yeah, and the way you're talking about it too, you sound still more excited about it than ever.
Hey, that's what it is. You know, I love this.
Yeah. I've talked to jazz musicians. I'm like, how long do you want to be doing this for? And like, like musicians who are like maybe in their 60s and they're like the idea of retiring like just does not even exist for musicians whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no, I ain't thinking about that. Nope. Nope.
I'm
I'm
also
thinking
kind
about
of
what to
curious.
do if I can't play.
Yeah. I'm also kind of curious too because you've worked with so many people and so many people have, called you to play with them, that sort of thing. You lead your own groups and stuff. Who's someone that like on, in the jazz world now that that if you collaborated them, like just someone you really wanted to work with but just haven't gotten, the chance to in a professional way. Is there anyone that just kind of comes to mind?
Mm, 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 mm. I used to always say Michelle and Cello. That was always my first name, and that is still my first name. That's just the truth. That's my first name. Um, I ain't really chop it up with Christian McBride yet. We've got to mix a little bit, but not intensely.
Oh,
Um,
like you mean like you haven't worked together in a professional sense, just kind of in the
yeah.
mix.
Well, yeah, yeah. Um, and then there were some opportunities that I was so close to having, like with Elvin Jones before he passed. Like I I might have been the last hire. I don't know, but
Oh wow.
I remember I was playing at the Jazz Standard with Eric Reed Quartet. Gerald Cannon was on bass, so he was playing with Elvin, with Jazz Machine and all that stuff. And he put me to the side, like hands up, I was like, Keiko's coming down, they looking for a tenant for the Jazz Machine. So I told him about it. He's like, build your shit, motherfucker. I was like, all right, let's go. Did the set. Like, as soon as I got off stage, she's right there and just threw all these dates at me. And I was like, yes to all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes,
You would have
yes,
cleared
yes,
your
yes, yes.
calendar.
Yeah, yeah. But he passed before. I mean, I might. Well, it wasn't no need to clear it because it wasn't nothing in it in the first place. Because it was like far in advance. This was like this was probably like a January gig or something like that. But the first date was like September
Okay,
of
got
that
it.
of that year, you know. So yeah, I just threw all that. So I'm excited about that. And then it just didn't happen,
No, that's a trip.
you know.
I mean, that's got it. You must think about that on like at least once once a week or something. I mean, I would at
I
least.
think I think about it a lot. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. I think about it a lot, especially with when I see certain people or just certain topics come up. So yeah,
Yeah.
easy to be reminded.
You know, have you ever played with? I would have thought because when I was one of the guests, I would have guessed you would have said Herbie. But I'm not sure if you ever got a chance to play with him at all.
I haven't, um, but I mean, of course that'd be interesting.
I mean, I feel like that would be such a nice
Uh,
fit.
I think so.
I
I
saw
think
his
so.
most recent band play. I think that you would be, I think that you would be fantastic in it. Especially playing some of playing some stuff on soprano too.
You hear that, Herbie? Hey, give
Should
me a
we take?
call, man.
Should we tag him in the? We'll tag him in the post. Well, that's that's my goal ultimately for something to happen like that for somebody, because
Yeah,
musicians are hard to reach sometimes.
yeah,
So
you know.
we'll do everything on
Yeah,
our part.
yeah,
No,
yeah, but
Stacey.
I could name a thousand names like in the Herbie category. But
Yeah.
I I'm kind of just gravitating around like people that I actually kind of know a little bit. That's why I didn't name a name like that. But I'm sorry, go ahead. What you
No,
want to say?
I mean this has been great. We're gonna have to do part two.
Ah, I'm with it.
Yeah.
let
I
me
keep
know.
the episode short so that way we can always have, guests back that I want to speak to.
That's what's up. I appreciate you, man.
You're always invited. Some people are not. Yeah. But they may know who they are. I don't know. We'll find out. Thanks so much, man.
Hey, my man, my pleasure. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.